So today, I am pleased to be joined by Kevin Czinger, the founder and CEO of Czinger Vehicles and Divergent 3D. Now, I'm Tom Kelly, the CEO and Executive Director of Automation LA. You guys all know me, but if the name Divergent rings a bell, it's because the California startup was one of the first to develop a solution for designing and 3D printing car chassis, which by itself is pretty amazing. And now Divergent is racing to new heights to successfully raise $160 million to 3D print a supercar. What's more is that the company is combining generative design and additive manufacturing in a complete end-to-end modular digital factory for complex structures. I hope that blew your mind, because you got to pay attention to what Kevin's going to be talking about. So Kevin, thank you for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Tom. Thanks so much for inviting me. It's my honor, and I'm looking forward to this.
Well, listen, Kevin, what your company is doing is one of the most disruptive things we've seen in auto manufacturing, really since Henry Ford developed the assembly line over 100 years ago. And I really mean that, because we pay attention to all the changes in technology that are occurring around the world. And I got to tell you, what you're doing caused me to stop and think about what's happening in manufacturing, and specifically auto manufacturing today. So could you tell me a little bit about Divergent 3D and how you got to this place where we're having this mind-blowing conversation?
Sure. As quick background, going back, I'd say 15, 16 years ago, I was the co-founder of an EV car company, Coda Automotive, that had a joint venture with a Chinese auto manufacturer, and Coda Energy, which had a battery design and manufacturing joint venture with the largest Chinese state-owned battery company, Tianjin Lishan. And in the course of both designing and manufacturing, really the first purpose-built automotive grade EV batteries, by 2010, we were running a lithium iron phosphate, prismatic cell manufacturing factory. There was a 1 million square foot battery mega factory. Wow. So that was up and running, and really it was the basis for China's industrialization of the lithium iron phosphate chemistry for batteries. And at the same time, we were doing the conversion of an existing internal combustion engine vehicle to a full battery electric vehicle. And in the process, I spent more in a very low cost manufacturing region in the world. I spent more on the retooling of a conversion vehicle and the refixturing of the factory than on all of my technology development. Wow. And as I looked at that, I said to myself, everything is being digitalized around the vehicle. We're still using the analog scale and scope, fixed asset leverage model of manufacturing that Bud Steel in the 1920s originated and then licensed to the auto industry to stamp unibody construction vehicles. And so I said to myself, this is not going to work going ahead. The auto industry basically has a cost numerator that has to do with tooling and fixturing. That's about to skyrocket as we have these different powertrain variants for vehicles. And the volume denominator was already going down per model, but with these variants, obviously it goes down further. And with competition, you're not only driving down the volume denominator, you're collapsing the amortization period. Right. So this to me looked like the perfect economic storm. And so I looked at that and said, how do you create an actual digital manufacturing system from end to end? It needs to have 3 components. It needs to have a generative design system that really takes into account all engineering, manufacturing, and assembly constraints. You then need a way to, if you're able to create in the real world, a fully optimized design in 3 dimensions,
Right.
you need the materials and the machines to materialize that in a way that has fidelity. And then you need to also have a digital assembly system, one that's not based on fixturing, one where those digital assembly blocks that you have can be automatically assembled by the same system without fixturing, without changing the hardware or software of that system. And so I looked at that and said, at this point in my life, it's time to focus on whether you can create that full digital manufacturing system.
Fantastic.
And then I went about doing it.
Yeah.